What's up, team? I'm former United States Army Ranger Joshua Thompson. This video might be the most important video I've made to date. In this video, I'll be going over the sole reason as to why myself and others made it through selection successfully. This mindset is so powerful that once you adopt it, you will probably never quit anything challenging in your life ever again. But before I get into that, if you guys enjoy mindset videos just like this, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe if you are new. Let's get into it. So to set the scene, if you guys have ever watched a sports game and you see a player that just clutches up for his team, or you see someone who's running outside in the freezing rain, they got their headphones in, their face is stone cold, and you just think to yourself, there's something about these people that are just different. You don't know exactly what it is, but you know they have it. From what I've learned, from what I've seen, what I call this phenomena is the X factor. And from what I've seen, meeting hundreds of thousands of faces throughout my entire life, I've only met a select few individuals, probably in the single digits, that have this kind of mindset. So what exactly is the X factor in a holistic view, if I were to put it into words? And the X factor is basically Stoicism. Yes, you're non-reactive. Yes, you're not outcome dependent. Yes, you stay calm under pressure. These are core themes that you definitely need to be successful. But I would argue that in order to truly embody the X factor, it's more than just Stoicism. The people who have this mindset not only survive through the storm. They not only survive through selection, but they enjoy it. They thrive in that environment. They're constantly looking in life to be put in situations where they can test themselves, because this is where they feel the most authentic, they feel the most real. In sports teams, it's those people with killer instincts who would take that final shot. They're the closers. They're the people who aren't afraid to shy away from taking those risks. Not only are they not afraid to take that final shot, they want to be the ones who take it. Because here's the thing, everybody wants to be the person who makes the final shot, but not everybody wants to be the person who takes the final shot. And it's a very clear difference, right? Everybody wants to be the one who graduates from RASP. Not everyone wants to do what it takes to get through RASP. Sometimes you're gonna go through RASP and you're not gonna make it through the first time. And if you don't make it through the first time, just take another attempt, right? If you don't make the shot at the end of a basketball game, you'll likely have another moment to take that final shot again. The only way you won't be able to take that shot again, or you won't be able to go to RASP again, is if you quit on yourself. Even if you get dropped from RASP and you get sent off to a unit, eventually enough time will pass to where you can come back. Unless, of course, you're perma-drop, but that's a different story. So essentially, you need to be not only a person who takes risks, but thrives in taking that risk. And obviously, they're calculated risks. At the foundation of this mindset, Stoicism is the centerpiece. You need to have Stoicism kind of locked into your frame, into your mindset, in order to fully embody the X factor. I think of Stoicism kind of as the fundamentals of this mindset. The most important lessons we can take from Stoicism for this particular mindset is being non-reactive. You're not letting external factors dictate what you feel internally. You're unfazed. Even if it gets chaotic at times, you're unfazed. Now, being non-reactive to external factors in life is one thing, but let's say you're not performing well in a certain task and you're hypercritical on yourself. This is something I personally struggled with for a very long time. I'm someone who can be particularly very harsh on myself when I'm not performing to a certain standard. And because of that, I used to get very frustrated with myself when I'm not performing to the standard that I'm used to. And so the hardest thing for me for the longest time was letting go of the outcome and realizing it's a process. You're gonna have fluctuating performances from day to day, but overall, when it comes to the month to month, you're making insane progress. And it's something that needed to click in my mind, and realizing that it is a process and suppressing that negative voice in your head that's saying, hey, you should be doing better. Even if you do think that, essentially, you need to let go of that and continue to perform optimally. The most important lesson that I had to take away from non-reactiveness was realizing that my growth from month to month, I am actually getting better, I am improving, even if I do have really bad days and I have really good days. Next thing is you need to be outcome independent, because in life, you can't control everything. We can only control the controllables. We can control how much we work out, what our diet's like. We can control how much sleep to a degree. We can control how much we can sleep, especially in the preparation process. We can control all those things, but we cannot control, the weather of the day. We can't control our ranger buddies just keep messing up and we keep getting smoked all day. So it's important to focus on what we can actually control. And if we can do that to a high degree, it will highly influence the outcome, but we are not dependent on that outcome. Because even if you do fail, you can eventually come back. It's not a big deal. And then the third most important thing we can take away from Stoicism is regulating our emotions. That doesn't mean we're not feeling emotions. That just means, let's say you're in a stressful environment like selection, like RASP, and we're getting tired, we're getting frustrated with our Ranger buddies or whatever, we're not lashing out, we're not quitting, we're not saying, oh, this is too much. This is too much stimulation. We're regulating our emotions. You're not suppressing them. You're not burying them deep. You're letting yourself feel the emotion, but you're not letting it control you. And when you have control over your emotions, you can dictate a little bit more of the outcome. This is especially important when you're in a performance environment, because let's say you're in a sports game, you're in selection. In that sports game situation, you want your emotions to be like this, because let's say you keep missing shots. A lot of people will get discouraged. They'll be hypercritical on themselves, or they'll let external things like trash talk from the other team. Maybe their coach is getting in their head. Whatever it is that's invoking these emotions, the best players know how to control that so that they can continue performing at a really high level. Otherwise, if these emotions get the best of them, then obviously they're not going to perform as well. You can see this is why trash talk in sports environments is a thing, because if you can get into your opponent's head mentally, if they're not mentally strong, then their performance will suffer. If you've ever seen the James Bond movies and you're watching James Bond, whenever bullets start flying, whenever he's in a fast-paced car chase or in a stressful environment, how does James Bond react? He doesn't really show too much emotion. In fact, he's really calm throughout the entire duration, no matter how ridiculous or chaotic the environment gets. And because of this, he's still performing at an extremely high level of proficiency in pretty much any task that is thrown his way. In fact, he might even have a little grin on his face because he's enjoying the moment so much. He perfectly encapsulates exactly what it means to be stoic in stressful environment. However, here's where things get deeper. We're not just talking about stoicism anymore. Stoicism is really good, especially for selection, special operations, but how do we take that to the next level and get this elite X Factor mindset? The difference is we're not just enduring a stressful environment. In fact, when we get to those challenging environments, a person with the X Factor loves that environment. They love the challenge. They want adversity to show up in their lives constantly. Because for these people, it's more important to be in that pressured environment than it is to appeasing to their friends, their family, their teammates, whoever. It's more important to them to be in that moment and feel that moment rather than appeasing to the people in their life. By being in that stressful environment in RASP or at the end of the game where it's a high stressful situation, these people associate that situation with winning, with their outcome by doing those tasks. And it's not just about the final score, but the actions it takes to get there, if that makes sense. And for me, when I started having this epiphany of these moments associated with winning, then that's when I started to crave those kind of moments in my life. All right, so now that you guys know kind of what it is, you might be thinking, okay, how do I develop this kind of mindset in order to get to that kind of level? And the truth is, you can't really just read books or watch YouTube videos on it, and that'll get you to where you need to go. Yes, it's important to know and be conscious of these concepts, so that way you can be intentional and get to that level. But essentially what you have to do is you have to live it. You have to be in that environment constantly. That's the only way you're going to build this mindset, is to constantly be in pressured situations all the time. And the way that you can do this intentionally is joining a sports team, getting a job that's tough like roofing, construction, putting yourself in an environment that is tough on a daily basis, on a consistent basis. My coach, my high school coach, said it best: you should always be competing. And essentially what he meant was you always need to be challenging yourself to get to the next level. You always need to expose yourself to tough environments. That way you can build yourself up into the person you want to be. And essentially, if you expose yourself enough to those environments, you start to get desensitized to the pain. You start to get comfortable with the discomfort. And eventually you experience it enough times to where that's normal. That's where your homeostasis is. Just like building muscle in the gym, the more time you put into it, the more this mentality, the more comfortable you're gonna be in stressful environments. And then there's people who are kind of like me, who do it unintentionally, where life circumstances just kind of hand you this mentality. People who went through tough childhoods, people who had to grow up really quickly. These people usually grow up into really strong special operators. Why? Because non-voluntarily, non-intentionally, they were put into situations that made their mindset adapt to tough situations. So this is why I say this is my most important video, because if you guys do not constantly put yourself in challenging environments, constantly put yourself through the cooker, this is going to be a huge problem when you guys show up to RASP. Even if you guys are really physically fit and ready physically for RASP, if you're not there mentally, if you're not used to that kind of discomfort in life, your mind is going to freak out when your body's just constantly in physical discomfort, physical pain. it's going to freak out because it's not normal. So you guys need to make it normal before you show up to selection, before you show up to RASP. Otherwise, it's going to be a culture shock and you might not last as long as you think you are. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it. If you guys found this video helpful in any way, make sure you guys hit the like button. If you guys thought I missed anything or would like to share your thoughts, comment down in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.